What's up, Thrashers, and welcome back once again to the Thrash Maniac 99 YouTube channel, and I am back with yet another album review, and today I'm talking about one that I didn't really expect to come out this soon. I figured maybe next year we would have gotten a new album from this band, but here we are with a new album for the first time in 2 years. We are talking about the latest offering from Katatonia, Nightmares as Extensions of the Waking State. This came out on June 6th, this time on Napalm Records, and this is the band's 14th studio full-length overall, and, well, major lineup shift from the previous album, Sky Void of Stars, which was an awesome album, whereas this time around, well, when I say major lineup shift, I mean major lineup shift. Well, first, Roger Eurson, I believe that's how you say his name, he ended up leaving last year, and then earlier this year, before this album was set to be recorded, Anders Nystrom, original member, left earlier this year, which led to some pretty suitable replacements. First, we have Nico Elgstrand, formerly of Entombed, coming in to take over on guitars, and then also on guitars, we have Sebastian Svaland, formerly of In Mourning, currently live in Hypocrisy and Pain. Both guys coming in to take over guitar duties, which they're both excellent musicians. I mean, Nico, he's done some work with Entombed, of course, and then Sebastian's stuff with In Mourning in recent times, and now playing live for some killer Peter Tägtgren bands. So they got some good competent members coming in to take over the shoes, especially of Anders. But from what I've heard, there was a bit of a spat between Anders and, of course, Jonas Rinsk, which led to Anders leaving the band. I guess I heard rumors about, like, Anders was wanting to incorporate some older songs from the Katatonia era into their set list, but I guess supposedly Jonas didn't want to do that. And Anders decided to leave, which might be good for Anders because that means he could focus primarily on Bloodbath, which, yes. But let's see how Katatonia fares this time around. So we kick things off with Thrice, which starts off with a really cool heavy guitar riff before, like, clean melodies come in and take hold. And then it kind of shifts around between, like, some really cool grooves and riff structure, bass melody coming in as well, tribal drums, and I love the syncopation on this song. And then, of course, synths galore come along towards the end of this track. So it starts off pretty damn well with Thrice, and then that momentum continues with The Liquid Eye, which starts off with, like, tribal drums and clean melodies, and then you even get some, like, almost hard rock kind of riffs and melodies, and then suddenly you get this, like, really cool up-tempo chorus. But it does get into a little bit of doom. Like, there's, like, this off-time doom groove with clean melodies and the bass guitars coming along very nicely. So I like how they went for two different moods on the first two songs. So right off the bat, we're off to a pretty good start. And that momentum continues with Wind of No Change. You get a doom groove and a bass line to start off, and even choirs, I assume. And dare I say, almost borderline sludgy riffs. Like, it's heavier, they're nastier, and then it does shift into, like, more of a sullen mood. A tense chorus and a calm bridge. Like, I do like, especially on this song, like, the different peaks and valleys that you get. And then, of course, a really good, like, emotional lead section, which leads don't really come up hardly at all, except for maybe 4 songs, and they're done pretty well. And I believe it's Sebastian doing the lead work, or they might be sharing lead duties with he and Nico, who knows. But it was a pretty cool solo, and then we get into, actually that was one of the singles, and then we get into another single with Lilac, and, well, it starts off with, like, clean guitars and a nice groove. Then, dare I say, there's, like, a cool Opeth triplet groove that comes in on top of, like, a sweet lead melody. And there's even little chugs on the guitars. Like, I watched a guitar playthrough of this song, and Sebastian and Nico both came up with some pretty cool chugging riffs in here. But it does calm down pretty well. Although I will say, actually, I'll touch on this when I get into the issues I had with this album. And then we get into temporal, dark, clean melodies, and then it gets into some heavier riffs and more eerie, clean melodies that come along. And then it does kind of repeat a lot of things here and there, but the song itself was solid. But then we get into, I might as well go ahead and talk about one of the big issues right out of the rip that I had with this album, beginning with Lilac, all the way through to the song Efter Solon, I think that's how you say it. It's like basically for those 6 straight songs, it all starts pretty much the same with clean melodies, which I do like clean melodies opening up a song, but they repeat that dynamic too much on this album. Even going back to the Liquid Eye, literally 70% of this album starts the same, and that's clean melodies without any heft to start it off. Like, the only songs where you do get like any heavier or like interesting starts would be in Thrice, Wind of No Change, and the closer in the Event of. Those songs kind of start off better for the most part in terms of like, oh, it's a heavier opener instead of just sticking to the formula of just, hey, let's just start off with a clean melody for 6 straight songs. I mean, I'm not saying the clean melodies were bad or anything, it's just I kind of wish they could have changed up more in terms of how the song starts. Like, with a heavier riff, then you go into the clean melody. I think that would have paid off better. Granted, I will go ahead and say the other issue, the song structuring on a lot of songs on this album gets very repetitive and a little bit predictable. Especially, it was most apparent to me in the song Lilac, or not Lilac, Temporal. That was the one I was thinking of. Where it's like the verses are all clean and sullen. Like, you don't really get like heavy verses very much on this album. And again, it kind of makes these songs feel and sound kind of predictable, because it's like, oh, we got a clean melody to start, and then it's just going to go into a clean verse. And the choruses, for the most part, the choruses remain a little bit on the heavier side. But the chorus on The Light Which I Bleed, probably the most bland chorus of the entire album. It just didn't stick the landing for me. And then even in terms of like when they get to building up a chorus, like in the song Warden, you know, there's heavier riffs that come through and it's a more up-tempo chorus. But when it comes back for a second time, like, it was building something. Like, I feel like they could have done a better job at building up to the final chorus. Like, you know, it goes through its peaks and valleys of like ambience and clean melodies and like goes quiet. But then it abruptly hits you with that chorus, when I feel like they could have come in right out of the way, or right off the rip, with a lead or a lead melody to build to the second chorus. And it just does not land for me the way it just abruptly goes right into the second chorus. And then you get into songs like Departure Trails, where this one's basically clean tone all throughout. But I will say, this was one of the better songs on the album, because it kind of gave it a little bit more of a progressive rock feel, where with the keyboards, the clean tones on the guitars, the synths definitely play pretty well with the song, especially with the bass and the drums, kind of give them a moment to shine, as well as a really cool lead. So Departure Trails, I actually didn't mind this song. It just kind of felt a little strange being in the middle of the album, when it could have been like later in the album, like maybe the song before the closer, and who knows how it would have stuck there. But it was definitely one of the better songs, because at least they change up the formula a little bit on this song by feeling more like a progressive rock song, by maintaining that clean tone throughout. But then you later on get into a track like Efter Solon, which, by the way, that's all in Swedish. And it started off with potential. It's the longest track of the album at nearly 6 minutes. And it has piano, there's some synths, there's some ambience with tuneful vocals. Like, I will say, Jonas's vocals are really the thing that shine the best on this album. Like, he's damn good singer. And he definitely kept my attention on this album for the most part. However, with this song, it then turns into just nothing but electronic. And I don't know, I just felt kind of bored with this song because it builds up at the end, but there's no payoff. And then going back to The Light Which I Bleed, you know, there is some better tension building moments with darker guitars, but again, the chorus is pretty bland. But it does end very well with a heavy doomy riff and big synths to kind of end the song on a more grand scale. And then the closer in the event of, it's got heavier riffs with groove, and the synths do build pretty well to the chorus. So this song kind of ended the album on a better note than I was expecting. But yeah, there's just a lot of problems with this album, primarily in song structuring, and of course, the biggest problems were like the repetitious structures, of course, and the way a lot of the songs just start the same. Like, there's not really much variety going on here on this album, which definitely hurts this album to a degree. I mean, like, the first half of the album, I would say, was fairly solid. Like, Thrice, The Liquid Eye, Wind of No Change were really good songs. Lilac, objectively, is a good song, but I felt like it ended too soon. Just when I thought things were picking up, it just cuts off. They should have added a lead and another chorus, and I think that would have probably been the best song on the album. And then it just starts to fall apart with Temporal, but at least you do have Departure Trails and In the Event Of to kind of save the second half a little bit. So it's just kind of an inconsistent album for me, but yeah, there are just some issues I have with this one. So overall, I was kind of torn as far as the score I was going to give this. I am going to give this a 2.5. It's an okay-ish album. Like, it's not bad or anything. It's just very repetitive, not a lot of songwriting variety on here, and yeah, a lot of songs just start off the same, and the verses are all the same, and it just didn't quite stick the landing for me. So I would argue this might perhaps be the weakest album of their catalog thus far, but it's not a bad album. It's just a major letdown considering how good Sky Void of Stars was. But if you're a longtime Katatonia fan, there's a possibility you may not be as into this one if you listen to it and you was expecting an amazing follow-up to Sky Void of Stars. This, unfortunately, was not the album for that. But of course, this is just my opinion. What did you guys think? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. But until next time, thank you for watching, keep your horns high, and your dreams wet.